Wales, which is thought to be 4,000 years old. Well, these and other fascinating bits of trivia have been brought together in a new book. It's the British Isles, a trivia gazetteer. The man behind it is from Tyneside. He's Paul Anthony Jones.
Yay!
And he's with us now. Hi, Paul. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. Go on, first of all, impress us with another couple of bits of your favourite trivia.
Go on, Paul. Impress us.
It is hard to pick a favourite, I've got to say. I've got a couple, though. One of my favourites
you can do it, Paul. Pick a favourite.
The first speeding ticket that was ever given out in Britain. It was given out in the late 1800s on the first cars, and it was in East Peckham in Kent, and the guy who was ticketed was going at 8 miles an hour in a 2 mile an hour limit.
Can you believe
and he was
that?
caught by a policeman on a bicycle. So, yeah, that's one of my favourites. As soon as I read that when I was putting the book together, I thought that's got to go in.
That's got to go.
Definitely.
How did you become so obsessed with trivia?
I kind of always have been, to be fair. I'm a bit of a kind of fact hound, definitely. I love learning things. I always have done. Whenever I come across something that I don't know, I always like to look it up.
So how did you go about finding all of these bits of trivia to put in your book?
I kind of got it from everywhere, really, like books, magazines, libraries, lots of internet research, lots of sort of local history websites, especially, because it's so kind of focused on British and Irish history, British and Irish culture. A lot of it comes from real local authors and local writers, and a lot of books go back more than 100 years that I've used. So.
Do you talk to individuals as well? Because everybody's got their favourite bits of trivia.
Yes, I have done. Yeah, when I've been able to, I have done. Yes. Yeah.
But having said that, do you then have to double check everything?
Yes, everything has to get sort of double check, triple check, dates, names, everything. It's got to really be ratified to make sure it is.
You sometimes hear this expression, never let the facts get in the way of a good story. But,
yes.
Unfortunately, you have to do that.
Yes, yeah. There's a couple of times where I was told stories, and when you double check them, they don't make the cut, unfortunately.
They just don't do it.
Yeah.
So are there any stories
beans.
that you've come across that you really do want to be true, but you
Spill
can't
the
actually
beans,
prove
Paul.
it?
There's been a couple. A lot of them actually. There's a few places in the book to do with Jack the Ripper suspects. That was one of the really interesting ones to put together. And there's lots of stories about famous people who are involved in it, and you really want it to be true, but when you do the research, it doesn't quite come together.
It doesn't stack up, so you can't put it into
Go
print.
on, Paul, spill the beans.
The idea you've gone around the country, so have you got one or two bits of trivia from the northeast?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's a lot of famous ones that have had to go in, because if I left them out, I think I'd be sort of laughed out of Newcastle, really. So things like the Millennium Bridge is in there, Angel of the North's in there, Sage, things like that. But one of my favourites from up here is from Sunderland. There's a ship that was built on the Weir, launched from Sunderland, HMS Investigator, which was commandeered by the Navy. It was originally a coal ship, and it became the first ship to circumnavigate Australia and to map the coastline of Australia. And it was built on the Weir.
Yeah.
It was taken all the way across the world, mapped the coastline of Australia, and came back. That was in 1795. It was that
That's one I've not heard of, I must admit. I mean, doing this job, you find out all sorts of bits about northeast history and everything, but I've never heard that one. Is any of the trivia that you come across actually too trivial for you?
Yes, there's a few bits and bobs. The sort of I'd find I was writing about it and then think this isn't going anywhere. This will have to come out. Yeah. But there's quite often. I mean, you'll come across something. The more you read up on it, the more you find out about it, and it just becomes a bigger and more interesting story.
And are you just talking about kind of geographical trivia, historical trivia, or do you get into sports trivia?
Yeah, there's all sorts. There's a big football section. One of my favourites is about filming locations of films that have won Oscars. The biography of Samuel Beckett was filmed up at Bamborough Castle up here, so that's in. But things like where the opening sequence of Saving Private Ryan was filmed, that was filmed in Ireland. The big battle scene at the start of Gladiator, that's in. So it comes right up to date with some arts and culture and sport.
Did you know? I'm not exactly sure of the facts, but did you know that the biggest crowd ever to be turned away from a football game after the game had started was at St James's Park?
I didn't. That's a good one.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Get that in the
2,
sequel.
definitely.
Get that in the volume 2.
It was something like 60,000 people.
Really?
And it was probably early 1960s, and I'm sure somebody will tell us who they were playing. But I think the game was about 7 minutes old, and the referee, basically couldn't see the other side of the pitch, so I had to call it. So they all had to go home.
Wow,
and that is in the I know some book record thing. Go on then. I need some more stuff. One of them, you claim there is a waterfall in this country that is 3 times higher than the Niagara Falls.
Yes.
Where's that then?
It's up in the Highlands in Scotland. It has a Gaelic name that if I attempted to pronounce, I'm sure I would insult people who live up there. But it's 3 times taller than Niagara Falls. Not the same size, but it's taller. And
so it's like a little trickle of water, but...
It's pretty much, yes.
But a high trickle of water.
But it's very, very high. It's called a horsetail waterfall. And it's just water that just cascades down the side of a mountain, but it's taller than Niagara Falls.
Okay. The shortest Oscar acceptance speech? Well, everybody knows that's from a Welshman, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Ray Milland.
What was it?
I don't know. I can't remember what he said now, but he
was probably France.
Yeah, I think he probably was. Yeah, and he was born in Wales. Yeah, first Welshman to win an Oscar.
Okay. Do people, avoid you on the bus?
I hope not.
Okay.
They might do.
But you are planning a new book.
Yes.
Now the thing is, what will happen is people will be listening. Oh, I must tell them about this. Yeah. Have you got like a sort of a central pool where you can get all this trivia? Or
yes, we've started
called
a
Nick.
Twitter account for the book. It's at Trivia Gazetteer, and there's a fact a day run on that at the minute. But we'd like to use that to kind of open it up to people who've got the book, and if they sort of think that there's something missing from there's something that they really think should go in it, then get in touch.
I think we need to get that in. Let's get some more facts then in volume 2. Listen, Paul, it's fascinating. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. I've got a copy of it here. It's called the British Isles, a Trivia Gazetteer by Paul Anthony Jones, and it's published by Somersdale.
Ooh, Anthony. I think you'll find it. Anthony.
Coming up before 5 o'clock, the ghostly tale of the headless
well done, Paul.
horseman of
Very proud.
South Tyneside.
Very proud indeed.